So let's just go directly into the roundtable, right? And for our last important activity for today, it's going to be roundtable discussion among co-ops and platform organizations, and it will be moderated by Sophie Sun. Right, so this is another format to learn, because we have already gone through, believe it or not, a dozen cases today, plus 3 keynotes, right? But this is a more interactive way to learn about their great work. Right, so tomorrow afternoon, around this time, there will be another roundtable. It's about blockchain for co-ops. But today, this one is talking about business as usual, beyond business as usual. Amphibian platforms. So what is Amphibian platform? And the time is yours.
Thank you. Where's Jessamine? Ali? Yes. Okay. Nashin, yes. Okay. Can I sit here? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for staying here. And my name is Sophie. I come from Chinese Academy of Social Science. I'm a researcher there, and my research is mainly about platform economy and digital labor. So today I'm very glad to go back to COHK, my alter mater, to chair this roundtable. And this roundtable is called Beyond Business as Usual, Amphibian Platforms. And we have 4 excellent panelists from 4 platforms. And I'm very sorry that one of the panelists from Vietnam, from vLance, cannot make it today. And because his wife has some urgency problems. So first, let me introduce our 4 panelists. The first one is Albert Liu from By the Way, Hong Kong. And the second is Jessamine Pacis from Foundation for Media Alternatives. And he's from Philippines, yes. And our third panelist is Ali Ercan. He's from IDEMA-Turkey. And the last one is Nashin Mahati. He's from Peta Jakarta, Indonesia. So this panelist is actually provide you a basic understanding of the platforms in Asia context. So before we start, I would like to say a little bit more about why we call this platform Amphibian. Actually, for me, I think we can think of Amphibian from several levels of meaning. The first is about their organizational goal or a governance structure. So those are the platforms. Some of them actually have been successful for-profit corporations, and some of them also go beyond this kind of business model and make service for the public good. And for the second level, it is about their technology adoption. So among these platforms, some of them use very cutting-edge technologies, and they have their own applications. And some of them are using this kind of mainstream platform, like Google, Twitter, Facebook, or WhatsApp. And there are also some barely have online presence. So you can say they are both online and offline. So the third level, I think, is about their economy of being informal or formal, bearing in mind that in Asia society, informal economy actually accounts a very big part. And in that part, we have corporations or platforms have been created for many years. And we also have some new startups who a little bit more face some very restrictive policy environments. And the final level, I think, is about their global network ecology. So those are the platforms have been created based on these local communities, but they also attract consumers or users from all around the world. Some of them may still have some influence from their colonial masters as well, and some of them are creating their own mode of operation. So those are the last level of connotation I want to articulate. So now I think we are on the same page, and I know we all know that why we are here. So next, I'm gonna give the time to the 4 panelists, and in the first round, I would let each of the panelists spend 4 or 5 minutes to introduce yourself and what kind of thing you are doing, how you are doing, and your experience about the managing or developing of the platform. Is that okay? Okay, so let's welcome Albert.
Today, great friends for the invitation to have such a good chances to have the sharing with so many friends who are also in the sharing economy field. My name is Albert, founder of By the Way, a ride-sharing platform in Hong Kong that was started 3 years ago. It started from my inspirations from the successful showcase of Uber and Airbnb at the moment. It showed me that how great a sharing economy concept could be, and I can see it's going to change the world and create a better life for many of the people. And that is the reason why I'm interested to see what can I do in the sharing economy field. But honestly, at that time, I have no any idea what I'm going to do. I just no theme, no topic, only have a direction to do so. After that, I remembered that's a day I'm in a hurry, rushing to the airport to catch up a flight. I was waiting on the roads for a long period of time, but cannot get on any taxi, and I was in a very hitting situation. I don't have any alternative, but I just stopped a car in front of me to see if they can give me a ride to the taxi station nearby. Hopefully, I make it, and I can catch up for the flight finally, and that made me feel is amazing. And I just think about at that time why the concept of ride sharing is being such a good idea. It's meaningful, it has the economic and social value, but how come it cannot be still popular at that moment? What's happening over there? And I'm curious, and I decided to take this topic as what I'm going to do with the sharing economy. So I have the missions to build a platform that enable the utilizing of the idle seats on the road and boosting ride sharing as a more eco and community-friendly ways of transportation. That's our missions. So very soon, I start to pitch many of my friends and partners about what I'm going to do to get their support. Of course, they support me psychologically, but to me, it's more importantly, economically. They give me the funds to kick the start. We start from hosting a simple Facebook group. It was surprising that it takes only 3 months' time. We got more than 20,000 of members joining our group. They're willing to share the ride every day from our district to another district. Actually, to me, it's a very confident boosting message to show me the concept is workable, and so many people is willing to join the games and support with the concept. We decided to do more, and at the same stage, we start to build a tool and platform that we think can enable a more effective and efficient matching of the ride sharing and giving the users a better user experience. Honestly, we are proud that we did pretty good job in the last few years. We have many of the tractions, many of the media coverage reporting our case, and we are here now having more than 100,000 of members in our platform and group. So with the missions and visions to get the ride sharing being popular all over the world, we have decided to open the source code of our platform and share our successful experience to many of the peoples who are in different cities and countries who have the same passions about the ride sharing with us. So today, I'm looking forward to have a great conversation and sharing with you all here. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessamine from the Philippines. So I'm with the Foundation for Media Alternatives. We're a civil society organization basically working on digital rights. So we're not a startup, we're not a business, so I'm kind of the odd one out here. But the reason I'm here in this session is that currently we're engaged in this global research on looking at the platform economy or platform economies all around the world. And Sophie's team, I think, is part of that project as well. And in the Philippines in particular, we are looking at the platformization of care work or domestic work through on-demand cleaning platforms. So I think just a bit of a background. In recent years, maybe in the past like 2 to 3 years, the Philippines has seen this new emerging trend of on-demand cleaning, home cleaning platforms, wherein you can book short-term, basically task-based cleaning appointments. And these businesses cater mostly to condominiums in the urban areas, and most of them use technology or platforms in one way or another. Some through a website, some have their own mobile applications, and some even use Facebook and Facebook Messenger, which is still very, very big in the Philippines, to book and conduct their transactions. So it's very interesting for us to see because we're seeing this new model of domestic work that's not your traditional using recruitment agencies or whatever. So new models and new relationships as well with the workers and the platform owners. So maybe this kind of model is very familiar to us because in fact, even the businesses themselves would market themselves as like the Uber of home cleaning. So they claim that they're part of the gig economy, but at the same time, if we look at how they actually operate, they are not really similar to the major labor platforms that we know, in that they are not fully digital. So in a lot of these platforms and businesses, all the transactions and the services go through the platform owners as intermediaries. So there's actually no direct contact between the workers or the cleaners and the clients. So everything still goes through the platform owners. And when I say it's controlled by the platform, like the rates, the scheduling, the bookings controlled by the platform, I don't mean an algorithm because I don't think any of these services actually use an algorithm. So it's an actual human person still managing the bookings. So, and naturally with these kind of partly online, partly offline models, it gives rise to a lot of gray areas in terms of policy and regulation, like in business registration, the nature of business, the classifications that these businesses fall into. And it's been mentioned a lot of times today that the issue of social protection as well, because these workers are classified as independent workers, so they are not secured social protection and government mandated benefits. And what else? So yeah, these are the issues that arise, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you. So next, we invite Arlie Ercan from NISMAP. Or do you maybe have a video?
Yeah, we have a just 1.5 minute
Okay, great.
video. NISMAP, yeah.
Sen bilmezsin benim gözlerim nasıl büyüdü. Olmayan işaretleri nasıl net görür. Güldürür müyüm seni, unutturur muyum bilmem. Diner mi yağmurun, eğer güldürürsem. Güldürür müyüm seni, unutturur muyum bilmem. Diner mi yağmurun, eğer güldürürsem. Gözümdeyse kanatlanır, uçar umutlar, dağılır düşün toz bulutu, belki güneş açar.
İhtiyaçharitası.org'dan yapacağınız küçük bir paylaşım onlar için kocaman bir mutluluk. Siz de ihtiyaçharitası.org'a tıklayın. Güzel ülkemizin güzel insanlarını hep birlikte mutlu edelim. İhtiyaç Haritası, Türkiye'nin paylaşım noktası.
Okay, thank you. As you see, NeedsMap is a geo-data-based map system in Turkey, which is neighborhood-based. You can see reds, blues, and greens. Reds are needs, greens are the ones that you want to give away, and blues are the ones recently done. It's a shared economy, and we were established 3 years ago with 7 co-founders as a cooperative. And we made it non-profit, that's why we are social cooperative. Then thanks to, from ILO, Simel Hanım, you watched the video from her, she said you are a platform cooperative. And thanks that she introduced us the platform cooperative movement. And in three years' time, we got 100,000 users, 10,000 volunteers, and 600,000 transactions like this one. Currently, we have like 2,000 supplies, 7,000 needs. So these total the kind of shared economy of 15 million US dollars in 3 years. And since the beginning we started, we always targeted a global map. So this is Turkey map, but our target from the beginning was to establish kind of a neighborhood map. So to have it in India, Indonesia, Philippines, Italy. So thanks for the international network. Now we have invitation from Tunisia and also Colombia. So our aim is to also make a fintech integration. Now we have a fintech project coming that you will be able to empower local cooperatives that our users can buy from. Let's see, in the far east of Turkey, you have a school that has a need for sports equipment. So you will be able to buy from the nearby local shop instead of doing a big, Amazon or other kind of things. We will have small, and our aim is to also go global. So we are based on 3 strategy. If we are going to Tunisia or if we are going to Indonesia, we will have a local cooperatives and stakeholders committee meeting, then do an hackathon with the developers, and we will ask them to hack Turkey system. So it worked in Turkey in 3 bases: technology, community, and NGOs. Civil society and cooperatives owned the system a lot. So that's how we want to evolve the system to other parts of the world.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, next. Nashin, please. Do you possibly have a, oh yes, slides, yeah. Nashing is going to present with her slide. Before that, actually, she prepared, I think, 15 minutes presentation, and then I tried to make her to shorten it to 5 minutes.
Okay. So I just want to quickly introduce our platform, Peta Bencana, which means disaster map in Bahasa Indonesia. And to start, I just want to show this picture of the 2013 floods in Jakarta, where 30% of the city was flooded. And flooding in Jakarta is an annual occurrence, but this was the first time that it was affected to this degree. And the reason for this was an infrastructure failure. A portion of the canal wall collapsed. And what's important to understand about that is that nothing could have predicted this. And this is what we're facing with climate change. It's becoming increasingly difficult to predict when the flood's going to happen. And in the past years, the major floods that have happened have been a result of infrastructure failures. And in these situations, a lack of access to information makes it difficult for people to make decisions about safety and response in those time-critical situations. And Jakarta and many developing cities are often termed data scarce, but I think it's unfair to say that in this age of internet-connected mobile devices. Our team noticed that there's a lot of data there, it's just in different forms. Indonesia has some of the highest concentrations of social media usage in the world, and they're actively sharing information about flooding. And so a Twitter grant awarded to us in 2013 showed us that over a period of 6 months, there were over 150,000 tweets about flooding in the city. And so our question was, how can we transform this into actionable information? So our team developed an open source software called Cognicity, which acts as a parasite on social media platforms to suck that information out of social media, filter through it to get verified flood information by engaging in conversations with residents through chatbots, and then render it useful for the people who shared that information in the first place by putting it on a freely accessible web-based map. And it does this in a way that hijacks social media platforms where residents can get their data back and have something useful. And so how this works is that we don't plot every tweet or message that contains the word flood, but to get the verified messages, the software is programmed to listen to specific keywords, and when it detects this keyword, within a specific geographic area, it will ask residents to participate in community flood mapping. And I'll just play a short video to explain how this works.
Peta Bencana is a free and open source Swiss map for Indonesia. This video will explain how you can share flood information by submitting a report using Twitter, Telegram, or these local applications. When you tweet #Banjir to @PetaBencana, we help you input flood information, add photos, describe the situation, and confirm your location. Then we put your report on the map and send you a link to share with your followers. On Telegram, text /Banjir to @BencanaBot so we can help you make a report. Then we will send you a link to the map so you can see and share your report. We also gather information from these local applications. If you share a flood report with your app, we'll add it to the map. However you report, check Peta Bencana to see up-to-date flood information. Government agencies also add flood status updates to the map, so watch for this when you navigate. When we all share what we see, everyone can stay informed, avoid danger, and reduce risk together. Visit petabencana.id to get started. Peta Bencana is a free and open source.
And so this is all of the reports that we received during the 2014 monsoon season. And so the city is not at all data scarce. But the reports expire every hour. So this is what a screenshot of the map would look like at any one time to keep it in real time. And so anyone using a variety of social media or instant messaging can participate in this cooperative process, share that information anonymously, in real time, and use that to navigate and understand what else is going on. And the government is viewing these incoming reports in real time to understand resident needs and to coordinate response and relief. And they're also able to update the map with official information, creating a framework for two-way transparent communication, which helps to democratize decision support because everyone has access to the same information to make the decisions about safety and response in real time. And all of this is done in an open source framework. All of the data is open. And now we're working with partners around the world to build a network of users who can use the software for their own hazards as a free tool that allows them to reappropriate the data in social media, take it back out, and use it for forms of urban coordination that are fundamental to allowing residents to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nashin. So thank you for the 4 panelists sharing their platforms or institutions, what they are doing. So it's very interesting to see, actually, we have 3 platforms, right? Albert, like it's a ride-sharing platforms. It's kind of like for the cooperatives and not privately owned. And then we have Needs Map, like the map especially serves for the children, school kids who really need help. And then we have another map from Indonesia. Does it work in this mango key hunt typhoon this time? Does it like? Okay.
Can you get everyone the microphone?
Yeah, sorry.
But anyone is welcome to take the software and develop it for Hong Kong.
Okay. And those 4 institutions or platforms actually was created based on those local communities, and then some of them are trying to going global, attracting users from all over the world. And oh, thank you. I may have a question. I think Albert kind of mentioned that the reason why he wants to start this platform, right? Your story, like going to the airport and how about you for share with us this kind of the reason why you want to start this platform and what are the most crucial resources for you? Is that okay? I think we can share, like Albert can say something and then the other panelists also can, yeah.
Yes, actually I'm not a tech guy. Okay, I have no idea about the technology. Okay, even I don't know how to set the email in my mobile phone. It's my colleague helping me. But as what I said a few years before, I'm pretty interested about what's happening in the world. And sharing economy is the trend. I think it's very meaningful. It can provide people with a better way of life. Especially, you know, Uber show us how convenient it's for doing so. So I just think I would like to do something that is really can utilize the idle resources. That I just find that the idle seat on the road is what I'm seeking for. Especially I experienced that case, and I because of that I catch on the flight without missing it. That's my reason to make the trial.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And how about Jessamine?
Yeah, I think I can just share some of the cases that we've seen because the motivations vary from one.
Oh, okay,
platform to
yeah,
another. So,
for sure.
there is one platform that is actually marketed as a social enterprise. So they work with an organized urban poor community in Metro Manila. So the aim of this social enterprise, they say, is to bridge the gap between urban poor communities and the more well-off business districts in Metro Manila. So that's what they do. And then another interesting case that we've seen is that there's this initiative that actually started with migrant workers, actually here in Hong Kong. So these domestic workers from Hong Kong who returned to Manila, they started this initiative to form a business, on-demand cleaning service business, in which they act as the managers and the trainers as well to train the other women in their communities who may want to be part of the service. So some of the
What kind of resource do you think it is very important for you to, like?
I think
run?
a very important element for these businesses is the community networks, because most of them work with, like I said, communities, and through word of mouth, it's the women in those communities that sort of come together.
Yeah, thank you.
For us, for needs map and how we came and why we did it was, I mean, we came up with two reasons. One of them was there was huge crowd, but not well managed. So there were demand side of needs, so on social media especially. So village school is asking, we need bookshelf. So sometimes thousands of books were going or none. So there was no in middle. So this was a problem we faced. And another one was the neighborhood. So everyone was looking for other cities or other, far away. So nobody was concentrating on their neighborhood. So another problem was the humanitarian side. As Turkey is in the Syrian border, we had huge refugee issues. So there's huge funding accumulation, but the problem was the balance. So with the map, we tried to bring this kind of a solution. Yet, the success we generated was only because of the collaboration. Because I had this idea of mapping needs. Another colleague, he's a famous actor in Turkey, a good colleague of me. He has the idea of listing all this. So we matched it. Now in our system, you can see the list, you can see the data. And we were so hesitant that it's quite, not easy to doing data map. So, but the Turkish community, we were so inspired. Like they use it as it's kind of normal, just opening like a door. And the fourth thing we had not planned was they call it. We have a Ottoman term called imece, which is like kind of solidarity and helping each other, like collaboration. They call it online imece in Turkey. So you crowd your resources to solve a problem. So this was not kind of thing we had planned, because even if you cannot take care of or buy a football or a prize or telescope for a school, but what you can do is you have more than 10,000 Facebook followers, you just click and share it. So at least one of your friends is interested to solve it. And we got huge support from the on the fifth side, like developers, like in US, we find some Turkish developers, so they helped us designing. So we noticed that we did this kind of with basic instincts, our will for matching technology and social problems, community building. But we understood that we were doing kind of a process with participation with our members, cooperative members, with our enlarged volunteers, 10,000 volunteers. And plus, we did kind of a thing on design thinking. So we were open, transparent, kind of a manual blockchain we created while we were designing it. That's why we, a Turkey pilot, so that's why how we want to evolve the process at the global level.
Thank you. Thank you. What about Nashin?
For us, I think it was recognizing that when these major disasters were happening, both residents and government agencies were expressing the difficulty to respond based on a lack of access to information. But we realized that that information is there, it's just in different forms. There's a statistic that the ASEAN region is home to 625 million people, but 725 million smartphones. And so this is a ready-made infrastructure that exists, and it's about finding a way to sort of creatively realign that. And especially with the scale of disaster that we are experiencing now under climate change, I think no one agency, no one government can handle that on their own. But you have, in Jakarta, 30 million residents with smartphones who are using social media. That's 30 million sensors in the city that can respond to changes around them. And so how can we build a system that encourages sort of civic co-participation in the management and in the monitoring of infrastructure.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I think sometimes we want to create this kind of platform or institutions actually comes from the actual needs of our life. And sometimes we may sense like we need this or that, but we don't have the time or have the energy or have this kind of relation to start it. So those are the very amazing cases that show us how they start their business or their platforms. So now I'm very glad to open the Q&A question. This is also the second time to have this kind of interactive conversations because we've been really have a busy day for listening to different kind of presentations. And now if there is someone who have interesting questions, and you are very, very welcome to raise your hands. Okay, we have the gentleman there.
Hi.
Please first introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm
and
Larry. Yeah, nice meeting you guys. Thank you for coming, the panelists. How many of you have the second job? Because I don't hear any sort of financial models of any sort, and it's good to do, you know, social good and sharing and all that, but the sustainability side and also the collaboration side from possibly the government or private institutions or foundation, whatever it is, could you give us a little bit of an idea from each organization, please? Thank you.
Thank you. I think kind of about like this, we take one and then answer one. Is that all right?
Asking about if we have other business or what?
Yeah, if you have a second kind of job, because sometimes you're running a platform like a part-time job or something.
Maybe I feedback to your corrections. Actually, I start my own business from 2004 after my graduation from Polytechnic University. I have 3 companies that are all taking over by my partners. So that's why I have my spare time to explore what's happening outside the world and pick up the sharing economy as what I'm willing to engage in. So if you ask me, the business model about By the Way is pretty, how to say, because you know transportation's always be a controversy in Hong Kong because you can see Uber. Once there are any reportings, the government always show their welcome for the sharing economy. But every time they got the reports, they would do things. Okay, so sharing economy in Hong Kong, I would say, have the obstacle with the policy and regulation. And that's the same situation facing to us. In our platform, all the drivers cannot get any incentive to share their ride. So it's just like utopia. Yeah, no paid for the sharing. But I just think it lost the critical factors for a healthy sharing economy model to work and to scale out. Until now, we can only having some of the advertising fee at our platform to sustain. But we do face the bottleneck about how to carry on if the government in Hong Kong still holding this kind of policy. And that's why I said that we plan to open our source code to any friends in other cities or countries to make use of our platform to see if their place have a better policy or regulation, they can do a better work. So if I do not have our own business, it's hard to, so.
I have a company, I'm running it. We are vendor for World Bank, United Nations, so doing with Google, doing different projects. NeedsMap is a social cooperative, so it's non-profit, but it has its own earning that we replicate geo map data for different NGOs, companies. Now for UNV ask us to prepare volunteers map. So names are different, like volunteer map, but they are using our data system. So the system the needs map is earning its own money and it has its own stuff. So as we are founders, we are just responsible for the checks and balance, transparency, ethical, we share all these things, volunteers. So putting our social capital since from the beginning.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So we actually started with Peta Jakarta, which means Map Jakarta, and it started as a research project. So it was very small scale. It didn't intend to grow this big, and it was initially funded by a few small grants that were coming in. But because of the success of the platform, we continued to get additional grants. And so we've been operational since 2013. In 2015, that's when we expanded to Peta Bencana, as we're expanding to a country scale. And it was still an applied research project, and as of last year, we just became an NGO. And so we're still funded by grants, but this is, as we've institutionalized ourselves over the past year, this is a challenge also that we are facing, is how to ensure the sustainability and continuity of the platform as it moves forward.
Thank you. Some other questions? Okay, that lady over there.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Cheryl from De La Salle University in the Philippines. I wonder if you could speak about the maintenance of trust in these platforms, whether in terms of ride sharing or in making sure no one hoards or abuses the sharing economy, or in the context of uploading accurate flooding information, for example. So if you could speak about how trust is maintained in these platforms.
Yes, I think trust is also very important, especially for ride-sharing platform, right? Because we all know, like, the biggest ride-sharing platform in China, Didi, had 2 terrible accidents recently, and the government has to shuttle them down permanently. And so, yeah, for this kind of platform, they really have a lot of questions regarding this. Maybe Albert?
That's always the critical questions we need to handle about the trust. And basically, I think the way that we do the ride sharing from the platform is much more safer than like my experience on the road, to stop a car and I get on the car, the driver do not know who am I and I don't know who is he. We already have the record on our platform. But I think the key elements to make things happen is about the feeling. Are you comfortable to have the sharing with some strangers? Someone you don't know him. So what we differentiate our platform and our app is to create a very good social element that we make both drivers and passengers, before engage in the ride share, they can have a chat, just like on Facebook, the feed, they can have the chat openly, and everyone can see what they are talking about. And that's one point. Another point is we differentiate ourselves by the community basis. How to say that is, we try to solve the problem of doing the ride sharing with labor. Just like you do the ride sharing with people who stay in your same estate or working together. So it's more effective actually, and at least you have the trust with your labor. So that's the 2 key points we are trying to fix the trust issues in our case.
Yeah, I think in the Philippines, in the case of cleaning platforms in the Philippines, I think that's also why most of them opt to work with organized communities to establish that trust. So in the Philippines, actually, a couple work with Gawad Kalinga. That's a well-known and established organization in the Philippines that works for poverty alleviation, so with the urban poor. So by working through those organizations, they already have an established connection with the community. And also another way that we see platforms trying to establish their credibility or the credibility and trustworthiness of their workers is by capitalizing on the previous experience. Like a lot of the cleaning workers are former migrant workers, domestic workers, so they say that because they have this kind of experience, you could trust them. So.
Thanks. Since the beginning, we have this question from many users. So there are three aspects, I believe. The first two is there's an increase at the global phenomenon, so societal trust is increasing. So this some of the things we were surprised. So it's always we see the negative side, or people will misuse it, etc. But we were also surprised since from the beginning. We don't have one fraud case in 600,000 transactions. Second, of course, we took precautions, deterrence mechanisms we created, like SMS verification, the copyright and data protection and all related online, as you can see in this Google stuff that you sign, kind of you click, etc. Third, in the Turkish ecosystem, we have the e-state system it's an open API that you can also do verification, like your full name, your identification number. So once you start taking action in our system, sharing stuff, you say, I want to take this, and you want to give this, so you get into a serious thing. So our system shows that, okay, now your steps are getting serious and we are getting serious. So we show this. So I think these kind of deterrents are quite enough for people. And once there is no money in it, so it's not open to that much use. So you cannot send money from someone to someone. And thirdly, we have a very good, strong nationwide community build. That's why we underline the importance of social communities without written rules. So we have 350 NGOs registered in our system, and there are like 10, 15 big nationwide youth, women, and different advocacy NGOs who are volunteer for us. So they have thousands of volunteers. So when we ask, there is a critical thing that we are suspicious, so they go and check. They do go to local government, they do go to school, just go and meet. And so that's how we are learning also. And fourth is a potential, so blockchain and those kind of technologies, I think, will bring more trust on this area, but we are still discussing how to, hug those kind of new technologies.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the question of trust has come up a lot with us as well. In the process of reporting, there's a level of intentionality built into that where you have to fill out a very quick sort of 4-question survey. And because of that, that's a level of verification in itself in our system. And so since 2013, we haven't had a case of a false report yet. But I think that another important aspect about trust is trust for the users who are using the platform. And that includes the resident side and the government side as well. And a lot of the work behind that is maintaining the relationships, the social relationships of the people behind the platform. And so the whole design of the platform arises from this process of co-research. And it's co-research with various communities as well as with the government to ensure that we're developing something in line with things that are already existing. And so there's this level of trust because they feel that some sort of ownership over it because we're developing it in collaboration with them, not something as alien and then implemented. So initially, I think in any place, there's always some sort of friction between the government and the residents. Initially the government was sort of, in some cities, they still view sort of community reporting in disdain. But over time, as they see the value of crowdsourced reports, now they're turning to it more and more as valuable sources of like granular data that can supplement their larger overviews of the city in order to help them with policy and decision making. And it's a slow process, but it arises from this process of listening to various communities and finding ways to sort of find ways where they can collaborate with each other without necessarily having to agree with each other all the time.
Yeah, thank you. I really agree with Nashin that sometimes trust actually not only built between like person to person, but also person to organizations and organizations to organization. Okay, we have another lady there. Yes, I can do that. Sorry, what?
可以帮我翻译
Yeah, yeah, yeah, for sure.
啊，好，就是我前2天就是其实一直很想过来，这个合作松这个黑客松这里，但是因为我是想就是做一个就是老人院的一个陪伴的制度，就是不只是亲人之间的那个陪伴，而是可以是陌生人之间的陪伴。因为有些人可能已经丧失他们的奶奶、公公什么的，但是他们也许是想有这份心，但是无从出来，觉得。
所以你的问题是？
我的就是然后我觉得就这种东西，就是好像刚刚香港的那个团队，就他是顺风车的那种，他是有双方的那个利益，就是共同有利益的。然后还有就是印尼的那一方是他是很急的，对。但是我这种呢就是缓慢性的，但是这种缓慢性就是它好像没有引起一种变革性的东西，但是它会存在一种
很重要，
就是如果这件事可以变成这样就好了的就大家的一种愿景里面。然后但是我又在想，如果老人院有陌生人陪伴这种东西，如果没有奖励制度的话，其实很多人只是想自己是受益者。我会不会说太多了
？It's okay
所以你的问题就是说，有别人有什么建议是吧？
快到问题了。然后很多人会以为自己就想自己是受益者，但是其实没有很多人，就是他可能想这件事是这样子是好，但是不会很多人会促成这件事的参与者。然后但是我又想到，如果有一个就是有一个预约的制度的话，也许这个事情是可以成的，就是把预约变成了人想体验的东西，而不是把它变成我是这个组织的一份子，就是把照顾老人这件事情不框在道德里，而是个人想体验的一个事情。然后你会不会觉得，就是如果这样的话，比奖励制度更好？我想问，怎么想？
好的。
I think it's amazing that you raised the question and answered the question by yourself, but I can translate it. It's a very good point. So the girl is talking about she really wants to join the hackathon. 2 days ago, we have held this activity in the cyber park, and because she has a very interesting project, because she wants to do an old caring project, because now China is going to the aging society, and many other developed countries also have this kind of phenomenon, and a lot of old people actually have no people to care, nobody care them. And also some young people, they may lost their parents or their older generation, but they want to give their love to this kind of old generation. So she's talking about maybe we should bridge those two parts together and then have this kind of platform. But this kind of platform is kind of different from what Albert or Nashin is doing, because for there it's kind of like very urgent or on-demand platform. Like I have the demand to take a ride, or I have the demand to know which part has been flooded. But for this kind of social enterprise, actually it is not that urgent, but it would be very nice if we can have this kind of system or mechanism, like bridge people together and form this kind of community. And then she gives us a kind of advice, maybe we can set some rewarding system or mechanisms that we can let the people get the benefit of giving their love to the old generation or something like that. So this is what basically she's talking. But I think the core question for her is how to start this kind of platform. maybe their experience can be very useful for you. And I don't know if the panelists can share their experience of how you start this and what's your experience.
我可以说国语吗？跟你开玩笑。Actually, you know we start from the ride-sharing concept, but what we are doing now is more than that. Jack know more about the community that we are doing. Because I think to a community, of course, the theme is very important. Just like in the app, all the behavior is matching for the ride share. But in our Facebook group, we start from the ride sharing, but it derives to other aspects of the sharing. I can share with you 2 days later, the 26,000 of the members in our Facebook group, that's starting from the ride sharing. We are doing some charity things. We get donations from the members and to get the fund to buy many of the rice, to buy some noodles, and go to the elderly house to send a gift to them. Yeah, that's what we are doing as well. Because to me, a sharing economy, the key point is if the community have the culture of sharing, they're willing to share. And then once they have that culture, you can initiate other aspects to guide them to do the things that you want to do. But regarding to your case, my experience is that because you know the elder people do not have the mobile phone. Maybe they do not have the access to the mobile phone. So the channel you need to reach them maybe is an organization or what. But in this point, you may face the challenge that normal people cannot make easy access to them because you know some of the policy, or they don't allow the strangers to visit them, even though you're just talking with them but not providing some care service to them. So these few technical issues you need to solve. But I can share with you some more about what I do. Maybe you can leave me your contact. I can share some more with you afterwards. Okay?
Thank you, Albert.
First of all, I mean, I think asking this question is very courageous. I mean, it's important. My story started with many projects I had experienced beforehand. But once I said this idea to my friends, I always heard, oh, come on, change the name. This is not working. This is not possible. No, oh, come on, data, map, people, ladies, no. So these were the general reactions. So if you are believing what you have in your mind, in idea, so it works out. And if you are dedicated, because, okay, we are telling kind of a very positive things, results, as our professor beforehand was telling the results orientation, okay, so this is the result. So, but the journey was not that easy, as we are telling. It was harder. But all the reality, all the results for me is the process, that the journey is still ongoing. So there is no end journey. So you just get into the bus. So maybe you missed the bus in the hackathon, but the next bus will come. Okay, the next bus will come. And never leave your passion and your instinct. It's telling you, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So listen it. Don't listen to people, don't listen to the ecosystem. Because when you believe yourself, it comes out. That's how I experience. I mean, I do not come from a rich family in a squattered area. I'm the first person who went to university in my family. But I always believed creating these ideas and running after it. So our Roundtable's title is very good, Amphibian. So we are not red, we are not blue. So we are mixture. And I believe on such establishing cooperative platforms or such enterprises, you have to know that they are going to be triathlon. Triathlon, run, swim, and cycle. So just start with cycling, okay? Because you have to know cycling first to run the triathlon. So, but feel that you will be an amphibian and then triathlon runner. So we are all like this, and you will be there. And as you said, if you want to do needs map in China, it's open for you. Just go for it.
Thank you.
I think for us, and I think what's already critical for you is that you've identified that there are particular energies and there are particular gaps, and there are ways to sort of align them to make certain productive relationships to form. And for us, it wasn't ever about, like, we didn't approach it with the intention to build a software or to build a platform. It was recognizing that there are these systems that exist, and how can we work them in a more useful way. And so even though for us the intention was never to build a software, there was nothing already existing that would do what we wanted to do. And so that's how that started, is that, okay, we have to build this thing out. And once we started to build the software, the approach to it was very, it was designing for scale. So even though we were thinking of just Jakarta at that point, it was designed in such a way that if it needed to scale, it would. And that's how it has scaled over the years, and where it's now gone to a country scale and now being adopted to other countries around the world.
Okay, thank you, Nashin. Thank you for all this very sincere and honest sharing. Since we have 15 minutes left, maybe we can have another round question. Please keep the question short and introduce yourself first. Thank you.
Hello, hi, this is Zito from Taipei. And I would like to ask the question is that building a platform takes a lot of money, a lot of effort and time. So what's the difference for you or what's the benefit to build your own platform comparing to using existing platform like Facebook group, using WeChat, using WhatsApp, or other types of platform, Google's, whatever. So yeah, that's the question.
Okay, thank you. I think the 4 institutional platforms actually have very amphibian landscape. Some of them are having their own applications, and some of them are using the mainstream media, as you've said, and some of them actually don't have online presence. So how about we let them introduce their experience, like the role of technology or media in their management of the platform? Is that okay? Okay. Yeah, we will. This time, how about we start from Nashin?
Sure.
Yeah.
So with us, we didn't want to build an entirely new application because research has shown that during disasters, especially, people are not going to learn something new. They're going to use what they've already been using with more frequency. So with us, it was how can we leverage the systems that are already in place. But we wanted to do this in a way where we weren't tied to those platform logics, because at any point, Twitter or Facebook, they can change what they allow us to do. And so we developed this process that we called medium agnostic design, where we use social media platforms as a way to solicit reports, but we have decoupled that process of soliciting reports from the information gathering. And that's when we send you that link to complete the report card, that pulls you out of the social media platform into the open internet. You fill out that information, it's sent to us to a free web-based platform, and we can then share that back with you through the social media platforms that you're already using. And this way we're not tied to their logics. And so initially when we started, Twitter threatened to sue us. Same with Facebook. But we have to find ways to sort of reroute around this to develop our design in such a way that we can hijack these systems but not be dependent on them entirely.
For me, the role of technology and the problem that we are focused was the main point. Because you came up with a problem. So that's the entry point as cooperatives, because this is different than, of course, companies has a profit margin, or in Silicon Valley, you have to crash something, existing something. So my approach was, I did my master's in UK on humanitarian aid. So the coordination of aid mechanisms, inefficiencies, transparency problems, corruption issues. And so I faced those in the field also, and I did my PhD also regional disparities. So you can see fund givers, and also you can see the recipients. So there's a huge gap, as the lady was also mentioning. So there are gaps and bugs in the system. So in the humanitarian field, we said how we can integrate technology without borders, without frontiers, and without bureaucracy. So how we can do peer-to-peer social solidarity. So there are the ones who wants to give, there are the ones who wants to take it. If it's a school, if it's an NGO, individual, institution. So in just 1 year, 2 years, we created $15 million transaction value. Without money, we don't get money, other things. So what helped is technology. And Google Maps was always there. So what we integrated is our cooperative and collective mindset. So it's not just about technology. That's why cooperatives, this solidarity, collectivism is critical in our mission, I believe. So we are not like profit mission establishment. We are more, solving problem driven and process driven people.
In the Philippines, actually, one of the main challenges for tech-based platforms, especially online platforms, is the very poor state of internet in the Philippines. So it's not very affordable, it's not very fast. So, and this is why actually a lot of these platforms use Facebook or Facebook Messenger, because in the Philippines we have free basics, we have free Facebook, so we can access Messenger without any mobile data credit. So that's why they use it a lot. And like I said before, these platforms are not really fully digital. They still use SMS, phone calls for bookings. And a lot of these more traditional services still exist as well that do not have any online presence at all.
Thank
you. To me, actually, it's a matter of what you are going to achieve in the future. Why I say so, because at the day one, I decided to do the ride-sharing platform, not because I want to do this in Hong Kong. I have the visions to make the ride-sharing being popular in other cities or countries, and even make possible for people who can share the ride with local when they are traveling. My plan is that like my app is in Hong Kong, and then another station is Taiwan, maybe Korea, and all the app is being used by local people. But once they're connected, you can imagine when you're going to Taiwan tomorrow, you post your itinerary, and you find that the local people there, maybe from airport to other place, you can match. That we can make the no boundary car sharing being possible. That's my plan. So, but you should know, startup always need to be lean. You need to test and prove your concept with the social media or tools that's handy. So we start from the Facebook groups to test if what we think is realistic or only ideal thinking, whatever. But once you get the tractions, it's the confident boosting message to show you that it's the right direction, and you need to have a better tool or platform that can do a more effective and efficient functions to realize what you're going to do.
Okay, thank you for sharing your experience and ideas. I think we are running out of time, and I think for those 4 panelists, they've given us a very comprehensive understanding of what are platforms in an Asia context. And actually the landscape is very varied. And also their difficulties and the future prospects of running this platform. It is never an easy thing, and it costs a lot of energy, relation, and capital. And also, I bet there are people who really want to start their own platforms, and actually running a platform sometimes it is not about money, it is about courage. And let's hope that all these platforms can continue to be the best case, and we have more people to start their own platforms. Okay, so let's put our hands together to thank you, the four panelists. Thank you.